Well, airports are not only feeling the brunt of a global lockdown, but local restrictions as well. As we know, traveling for leisure in and out of Gauteng Province is prohibited at the moment. These regulations have seen a drastic decrease in travelers at private airports like Lanseria. However, those traveling for business are not restricted. And those who were not at their home provinces when President Ramaphosa made the announcement are allowed to return in Gauteng or travel back to their home provinces. Let me take you to eNCA's Nkosazana Dambuza, who is tracking that story and joins us live now from Lanseria. So, Nkosazana, it's not only, the private jets that I imagine are parked there for quite a number of weeks, if not a number of months, not really much happening, but also those commercial flights that do operate out of Lanseria Airport. Everything seems to have ground to a halt. What is the assessment of the impact on airport operations?
Good morning to us. Well, I'm on the apron of the Lanseria Airport in Johannesburg, which would normally be a flurry of activity. And I just want to show you that since the start of level 4 lockdown restricting travel out of Gauteng, the number of flights that are taking off and landing at Lanseria Airport has decreased drastically. And in turn, the amount of passengers traveling to and from this airport have also diminished. This Kulula.com plane, which is set to take off in a few minutes, that I'm sure you can see now visually, it's just one of the few flights that are available for passengers to travel with, since traveling for leisure is prohibited under level 4 of the lockdown. But joining me now to talk more on this is the CEO of Lanseria Airport, Ramba Ramoko. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We understand that business has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. How dire is the situation at Lanseria Airport?
The situation is very dire. Pre-COVID, we were doing on average 28 frequencies a day, and that came down during COVID to about 10. And we saw some improvements when the lockdown restrictions were actually relaxed to about 16 frequencies a day. But with the adjusted level 4 now, we are likely to see a reduction in passenger numbers. In fact, we've already experienced that. In the last 2 days, we've seen the passenger numbers dropping by about 40% of what we used to do during Lalet level 2 and 3. So it's quite dire.
And how long will these airlines be able to stay afloat, operating at a minimum capacity?
It's not sustainable. Airlines make money through the number of passengers that they actually transport on a daily basis. And for now, when the numbers are 40% of their load factors, is really not sustainable. I don't think that they'll be able to even recover some of their costs. I would not be surprised if some of these airlines actually suspend operations. We've seen recently that Lyft has actually announced that it's going to suspend their operations. We really need an uptick in terms of this, and for now, I can't see the airlines surviving under these trading conditions.
And what strategies are you adopting to encourage people to travel by plane or even private jets, and specifically to use Lanseria Airport as they point to commute to their destinations?
Well, we've always maintained Lanseria as the most convenient airport in Johannesburg, easy of access, and we're still promoting that. We have implemented all the necessary protocols that we are supposed to be implementing. We've also gone digital as well. Our processing of passengers is mostly touchless as well. And, we're very nimble, we're agile, and that's a model that the airlines also prefer. And passengers actually like using Lanseria because of the service offering that we always maintain, the excellence in the service that we render at all the times. And unfortunately for now, because of COVID, we are kind of constrained in terms of our marketing strategy. We're just hoping that this COVID will actually disappear in a not too distant future so that we can get back to normal.
Thank you so much for your time there. Well, to us, only a handful of passengers here at Lanseria Airport, certainly not enough to fill a plane. And I can tell you that the airport and perhaps the aviation industry as a whole are crossing fingers that the 14-day ban on the traveling for leisure purposes will not be extended by government.
Yeah, it really is trying times there for the airlines industries. Thank you for that, Nkosazana Dambuza. I think that question of load factors the number of people who, because technically you should still be able to travel for one reason or another. It's just leisure travel out of Gauteng, in and out of Gauteng, that is restricted. But, I mean, the demand, you can only imagine that the demand must have dropped so significantly such that is it even worth it to have, fully serviced flights operating at regular intervals out of airports such as Lanseria. And this is a situation they've had to deal with for over a year now, and it continues. So, yeah, that's the situation there at Lanseria Airport.